What's up guys, Nugi here. In today's video we are going to be talking about the two new leagues for the upcoming expansion that's coming out today. The Warbands and the Tempest League. And what I really want to talk about is why these leagues are so good. So the Warbands leagues is a league where you will find these warbands, which is essentially a pack of monsters with synergies that will fight together, that will attack you together, that will debuff you, lock you in, and try and they have been created so they have mechanics that synergize well in an effort to kill you. So you have to kill them. They also provide you with some unique loot that will only drop for them, and so forth. So that's very good. It reminds me of an extended version of the Anarchy League, where we got Rogue Exiles, which were like more of a player type monster that would act like you would act, and so you felt you have some kind of like PvP experience. So that's all good. We've seen similar things like that in previous iterations of leagues for the standard one. So for the hardcore one, we have the Tempest League. And the Tempest League, I think, massively differs from some of the other leagues we have in the past for hardcore. And let me show you why. So if we go over the previous leagues we've had, specifically for hardcore here, we had Onslaught, followed by Nemesis, followed by Invasion, followed by Beyond, Bloodlines, and now Tempest. So Onslaught was just a straight up increase to attack speed, move speed, cast speed. Everything had a 20% bonus, right? This was the Onslaught League. It provided no benefit, it just made it more difficult. It was an interesting league to play in because it was the first league that was introduced. It added some more difficulty to the game, but at the time desync was a real problem. So I think the Onslaught League, the only thing it really did was really showcase how bad that was at the time. Not really an interesting league to play in. It's probably the most boring league of them all. But this was also the first one, at least from a hardcore perspective. The second league that was introduced for hardcore was Nemesis, with the oh so feared Volatile and Corrupting Blood. Again, a lot of extra difficulty added because the rares were now more dangerous, without any reward again. On Domination, as mentioned earlier, the counterpart to Onslaught was Anarchy. They got Exiles. Domination, they got Shrines, huge clusters of monsters with a kind of a risk-reward approach again. You can decide to kill them off or take the shrine from them before they kill you. You can drag them away, go and grab the shrine and stuff like that. There's a good risk-reward right there. We go on to Invasion. Invasion was an invasion monster in literally every zone. Every single zone was inhabited by some kind of invasion boss. Extremely overtuned in the beginning. A lot of players praise it as being the better league in the end of all of the ones we've had. Ambush was the boxes. Again, risk reward. A lot of good loot. Cartographer boxes. Whoa! Great stuff, great stuff. Everyone loved those. One of the problems people had with Invasion League was that there was literally no reward from the bosses. They were extremely difficult, but dropped very little. Beyond was a very good league in terms of drops, because they spawned so many extra monsters. But at the same time, it was very obnoxious that every single time you had to fight anything, if you had a good pack size that would normally be good, you would kind of be discouraged to kill it because you were afraid of something spawning. And it was quite dangerous because Reflect would spawn straight out of it. It could give you substantial fizz, haste, crit aura could spawn straight out of it. Some crazy bosses could spawn straight out of it, and there was no way around it. There was no way to not get into these scenarios where we would spawn a boss, because it was everywhere. It was just an overall mod for the entire league. Rampage was kind of a bland league, getting some kill bonus. It gave you a bonus with no real downside. So again, standard, getting a somewhat of a buff with no downside. Torment League versus Bloodlines. Bloodlines was the introduction of Phylactery Link. A lot of people hated it. I for once found Bloodlines a somewhat breath of fresh air, in the sense that we just had Invasion and Beyond League, which were invasive to the point where it just got obnoxious. Bloodlines, at least, you had more control because it wasn't as dangerous, but it was everywhere. So you always encountered it, but it wouldn't just straight up kill you, and it added just a little bit more difficulty, but less obnoxious than Beyond and Invasion, for my taste at least. Others would beg to differ and say that Beyond and Invasion was worse, but I don't think either of these three leagues, the previous one we've had, really hit the chord here. Torment League was the introduction of ghosts. Again, risk reward, you push the ghosts into something, they drop massive amounts of loot, but at the same time making it a hell of a lot more difficult, potentially. So Warbands and Tempest does a few things really, really well. So Tempest League and Warbands will spawn in different areas at different times. So they're not going to inhabit every place all the time. So now we can actually find a spot of like where we can just relax and farm a zone for like an hour. It swaps around, you can see, okay, there's no gold zone I want to farm, I find another place, and this pushes you throughout the content of the game as well. Like if there's no good Tempest that you can find, you just try another area that's not infested with some kind of Tempest that you don't want to do. Then all of a sudden you find this great area you want to farm that has a good Tempest now, and you're really happy about it. So you can much more control where you want to, like, when you want to fight and when you want to engage in the Tempest League. But at sometimes you will feel that you're kind of forced, like you feel compelled to go into this zone even though it's dangerous and you probably shouldn't be there. The reward is good enough for you to want to venture in there. Let me give you some of the different things that they can spawn. So the different Tempests will have a prefix and a suffix. These are all the prefixes. So the prefixes will give you an added bonus when you touch it. The suffixes are applied to you at all times whenever you're inside that Tempest. As you can see here, areas inhabited by 28 Rogue Exiles. We just had some fun with Rogue Exiles, didn't we? Pretty damn nice. We all saw how much extra loot this gave us. It was crazy. So people are going to be hunting out these zones and farming them over and over and over again whenever this is available. But imagine you go into one of those zones, and let's say the prefix is elemental resistance is set to 0. You touch one of these, an Exile hits you with a lightning arrow or a Vol burning arrow, you die. So there is some great risk reward here, both on the prefix and the suffix side. There are crazy things that can go on: extra XP, spirits, exiles, damage gain, damage reductions, currency gains. It's crazy the amount of things that are gonna go on. But the important part is that both Warbands and Tempest, because the Warbands, I don't really have so much information on it, but it's like it's a little bit better version of the Exiles. You have these warbands spawning, they fight together. It's probably going to be pretty interesting to fight them, especially in maps and stuff like that. And then we have the Tempests. They kind of serve the same purpose. It's like a risk reward. Do you want to fight them? They provide extra loot and all this. But it's not exclusive to the standard league anymore. So I'm really excited to trying out these new leagues, and I really hope that you guys are too. So that's the video, and I hope to see you next time.